Over the last 3 years, I have taken over 1,000 sales calls and closed over €500,000 between my own coaching offer and then 2 fitness coaching offers I used to work on. I was a closer for 2 fitness coaching offers for 8 months before I started my own business. And trust me, I know that sales can feel like it's really hard to crack at the beginning. It took me a while to be able to show up to sales calls with absolute extreme and utter confidence that I'm going to close, and this process helped so much. The first 20-30 sales calls I done were actually painful. It cringes me out to even think about them. But now, after taking over 1,000 sales calls and closing $500,000, I'm literally going to break down every single sales lesson I've learned and help you increase your close rate, not have to jump on calls for 45-50 minutes with prospects that are not qualified, and how to never ever get that I need to think about an objection again. These tips will save you so much of your time, help you to make so much more money, and allow you to close 10x the amount of sales calls that you're currently closing. And this isn't going to be a video on icky sales manipulation tactics or high pressure techniques or any of that stuff, but a way to actually make sales that feels so aligned and actually feels easy for you. I'm going to break down why a lot of the sales techniques that you're seeing on the internet don't work, and the go-to 6-step framework I use to close every single client in literally just one call. Now, you've probably seen this before. If a prospect gets on a call with you and they say, oh, I need to think about it, I'll get back to you next week, you can just consider them good as gone. They're not going to come back, and they're 99% of the time not going to close. And within this video also, I'm going to be dropping some secret sauce on this one thing I implemented into my sales calls that will allow you to never, ever get the I need to think about objection ever again. It has probably been the single biggest game changer in my sales calls, because I feel you, and there is nothing more frustrating than going through a whole sales call knowing that you can help someone and then them to say I need to think about it at the end. So we're never going to get that again. So after watching this video, you're never going to get that ever again. My close rate for my own offer at the minute is 65%, which is extremely high. And if I had the sales process I'm currently using when I started my business 3 years ago, I would have honestly made quadruple the money by now. I'm literally going to be giving away so much value in this video, and all I want you to do is drop in the comments what your biggest takeaway was at the end. So let's get into it. I was traveling in Mexico around 2.5 years ago now when I met a coach who used to work for Tony Robbins, and he was doing $1 million a month as a relationship coach. He was managing a team of 25 closers himself, doing $1 million every single month, and he had a 60% close rate on his sales calls. We got chatting in the gym one day, and he was asking me a load of questions around my sales process, how I handle my sales calls, and what my biggest problems were. And at the time, 2.5 years ago, I was so new to sales that I kind of felt that sense of it being icky. I didn't want to be too pushy, didn't want to be too salesy. And he said one thing to me that genuinely changed my perspective on selling in general and sales as a whole. He asked me, do you know you're a good coach? And I said, yes, 100%. I know I can help people, and I care about people so much, and I want to get them results, and I want to help them change their life. And then he said, well, the perspective I would go into every single sales call with is, if you know you can help the person on the other end of the phone and you don't close them on the call, they're going to stay stuck, they're going to stay miserable, they're going to stay in a situation that they don't want to be in, and you haven't done your job because you haven't handled the objections well enough for them to close and get over the fear that's holding them back from actually taking action. He said, if you know you can actually help someone, you're actually doing them a huge disservice to not close them on that sales call. Because working with you, they can change their entire life forever, but not working with you, they're probably going to either remain stuck, remain miserable, or maybe even sign up to another mentor who might not care near as much as you do. And when I flipped my mentality to that, it changed the energy I went into every single sales call with. Instead of going in trying to make the sale, I went in with the intention of trying to close the person because I actually really genuinely wanted to change their life. So firstly, that mindset shift going into every single sales call will change your energy completely and change the way you're operating on sales calls. And then before we get into the process, the second thing is embodiment. If you're not embodied in what you're selling, you're not going to be able to sell with confidence and conviction. If you're selling fitness coaching, but you're breaking promises to yourself the whole time, you're not showing up for yourself, you're not going to the gym, you're slacking off, you're not going to feel confident when it comes to pitching that offer because you're not embodied in what you're teaching other people to do. So I've always found times in my life when I've been in a bit of a slump or I haven't been keeping promises to myself, anytime I'm not showing up for myself, my sales calls will just go butchered because my energy will be so off. So for the 6-step process to work, there are the 2 things you need to have ticked off. You need to make sure your perception's right going into the call and ensuring your intention is to help the other person. And secondly is you must be so embodied in what you're selling. Now that that's covered, let's get into the framework I use to close clients consistently in just one call. Firstly is having a solid pre-qualifying process. So what I do is when I'm sending out a Calendly link, there's an option that you can add some questions in on Calendly to make sure they fill that out before booking a call with you. So the 3 questions I would definitely add in is make it multiple choice, so there's really low resistance answering. Put in what's your biggest goal and then give 4 options for them to select from. Put in what's your biggest struggle right now, again give 4 options for them to select from. And the third question, the most important one, is how willing are you to invest in yourself to solve this problem right now? And the 3 options I would give is number 1, I have the financial resources, and then in brackets at least a 4-figure budget, close bracket, the time and the energy to invest in myself without any hesitations. Option number 2 is is when a situation calls for it, I'll come up with the money, the time and the energy to invest in myself and my growth. And then option number 3 is I currently don't have any financial resources to invest in myself. Then anyone who taps I don't have any financial resources to invest in myself, you can just rule them out and not spend 45 to 50 minutes on a call with them going through all the problems for them to actually have no money to invest in a solution. So if anyone does tap that final option of I don't have any resources to invest, you can go qualify them more on Instagram, send them a DM and just be like, oh, just seen you hit that. Does that mean you have nothing to invest in yourself right now? And if they say yes, then you can just send them over some free resources, send them over some value, send them over some tips, whatever it may be. You can still give them some value on Instagram, but you can just save both of you some time by not getting them on a call when they actually have nothing to invest at the moment as well. So that's like one way of pre-qualifying people before they get on a sales call, so you're not wasting their time and your time with people who just genuinely don't have the money to invest. The second thing we're going to implement to our sales process is a pre-qualifying sales asset. So a confused buyer will never ever buy from you. There's 2 things that someone needs in order to make a purchase from you. First of all, they need to trust you, because no one's ever going to hand over their card details or give money to someone they don't trust. And the second is they need to believe that you can actually get them results. So if someone just came across your page very, very recently and they haven't really seen your journey, they haven't seen many of your testimonials or any of that yet, we need to speed up the process for them getting to know you before they actually get on the call with you. And again, there's 2 main ways that people are going to build an insane amount of trust with you. So it's seeing your journey, seeing themselves in your before, seeing what you've achieved for yourself, and then you're obviously going to trust that you'll be able to help them with that as well. And then also seeing the results that you've gotten for other people. So you're going to create a 3-minute Loom video with 5 points. First point you want in this Loom video is you want a dream results focused title. So how I help you achieve this dream result in X time frame is going to be the title of your presentation that you're going to be Loom videoing over. The second, you're going to go into your journey, your transformation, your personal story. So you're just going to do a little section on that, your before and your after. Then you're going to go into your case studies and client results. So put 3 of your best case studies and testimonials in that. Then the fourth point is you're going to go over your process. So how you're going to hold them accountable, what's included in your program, what they get in your program, what's your system, what's your framework. And the last point number 5 is you're going to put what makes you different to other things they've tried. So for example, if you're a fat loss coach, maybe they've tried 8-week shreds. What makes you different is that you're actually taking a more sustainable approach, and it's going to be a long-term transformation, long-term results. You have more accountability, whatever it may be. What makes you different to other things they may have tried before? And then before anyone gets on that sales call with you, they're going to watch that 3 to 4 minute Loom video, and half your job is already done. If you make that good enough, they're already half bought in before they even get on the call with you in the first place. So that's going to make your life so much easier as having one of those. Then step number 3, when you jump on the call, it's so important to set the frame correctly. So you want to position yourself as an authority and also build trust and build connection instantly as soon as you start the call. So in the first minute or 2, just a little bit of rapport building. Try to find one thing in common, whether they're from the same country as you, ask them how their day's going, whatever it may be, just to build a bit of a connection and for them to let down their walls. Then you just want to go in with a super casual frame for the call. So what you're going to say is something along the lines of this. Perfect, Jane. So we're going to have about 45 minutes here today. And again, I just want to help you get as much value from this call as possible. So I'm going to ask you a few questions around your goals to see where you're at now and what you're trying to strive for in the future. And then if you're a good fit, I'll break down the program for you and then you can ask any questions. Is that all good with you? So by you setting the call up like that, they're going to feel a lot safer. They know what's happening. You're taking the lead. You're building so much authority, and it's just really clear what's going to happen throughout the next 45 minutes. They're going to feel safer opening up to you. They're going to feel safer sharing more with you, and it's just going to make the whole sales call so much easier. And what you want to avoid is sounding like you're just robotically reading off a script. You want to take what I just said there, put your own spin on it, put your own language into it, and just make it sound like really conversational, because the more friendly and normal and natural you can make it sound, the more that they're going to feel so safe and just ready to actually get into the call. Whereas if you make it sound like a corporate pitch at the start, done, you might as well just actually close the laptop because they're not going to close. So you want to make it as casual and as normal as possible. Then step 4 is the body of the sales call. So there's a couple of aspects to this. First of all, the best salespeople are the best listeners. You want to understand them as much as possible. What closes a sale is not them understanding you. It's not you over explaining. It's not you trying to tell them this and this. And it's not a coaching session. They want to feel seen, they want to feel heard, and they want to feel understood by you. That is what's going to close the sales call. So in this middle part, you should be talking 10% and they should be talking 90%. All you should be really doing is asking really good questions and really listening to what they say and validate everything they say to you. So there's 3 parts to the middle of the call. Number 1, you want to get in as much detail as possible, their dreams, their goals, their desires. And you want to really pull into the feelings here. So when they say their goals to you, you want to ask questions like, and how would it feel for you to achieve that goal? What would life look like for you if you achieved that goal? How would your life be different than it is right now if you achieve that goal? And they're going to paint a vision for themselves. They're going to get so excited and so buzzing about the thought of having that dream result that you're going to help them get to. So that's number 1. The second part of the body of the call is the pain. So then you want to go into the struggle, everything that's not working for them right now, why that's painful for them to have this problem, what happens if they don't make any changes to this problem, what their life looks like if they don't make changes now. And you want to, again, ask as much questions as possible for them to go into the depths of the pain of why they don't want to be where they currently are. And it's like you're taking them on an emotional roller coaster. At the start, you're getting them so excited and so hyped about what you're going to help them do. Then you're bringing them back down into the pain of what they're currently facing. And then you're going to come in with your product or your service as the solution. So once you've got in so much detail everything that they want to achieve, and you got them so excited about their future, you got in depth and in detail everything they're struggling with at the minute and every problem you're going to help them solve, that's when you swoop in with the pitch. And that brings us on to part number 5, which is the pitch. So you want to make your pitch really personal to the parts of your offer that really align with the problems that your prospect has just said to you. So I use the PFS method for pitching. Problem, feature, solution. So first of all, in the bridge, you recite back your problem. So how I would bridge from the body of the sales call into the pitch is you say, okay, perfect, Jane. So just so I'm getting this right, like you're saying that you're struggling with fat loss, your energy's not good, your nutrition's off track, and you just don't have any accountability. So that's kind of where you're at right now. Like that's the problem you're facing. Am I right in saying that? And they'll say yes. Then you go into saying, perfect. Well, in terms of the offer itself, that's again, one of the biggest features we have is accountability and a personalized nutrition plan. So you get exactly what you need every single week. Going into the week, you get extreme amounts of accountability, extreme amounts of support to ensure that you're looked after on a day-to-day basis. So you've gone problem, feature, and now you're saying solution to help you achieve your result of feeling more confident in your body, feeling more confident for clothes, and having more energy. So let me just walk you through a breakdown of the offer. So that's your bridge point. You're going through problem, feature, solution. So before you go into talking about your offer, you're going to say, yeah, so obviously, Jane, at the end of this call, there's 3 things that you could possibly say to me. One is, fuck yes, Emma, I'm in, let's do it. The second is, no, not for me. And again, I'm totally okay with you saying that. I've heard enough no's before. I'm a big girl, I can handle a no. So if it's a no, that's absolutely fine. But what I just want to avoid is I need to think about it, or let me talk to my dog about it. We both know that's probably just a nice way of saying no. So it's okay if we just keep it between yes or no, if that's good with you. And then they'll say yes. So then you've kind of ruled out they need to think about it before you go into the pitch. And then part 6 is the last part, is again breaking down your offer and pitching the price. And you always assume the close. You want to assume they're in, you want to assume they're absolutely game ready to go. So before you pitch the price, there's a couple of boxes we want ticked. We want to make sure that they have no questions left to ask before we pitch the price. So after you talk through the offer, you want to say, is there absolutely any more questions you have at all? Anything you're unclear about? Anything you need to ask me? And again, if any questions come up there, you're going to answer them and tackle them. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure it's aligned on their half. So before you pitch the price, you're going to say, and do you think that this is what you need in order to help you to get to XYZ goal? Do you feel like this is aligned for where you're currently at? And if they say yes, amazing, brilliant, then you go into the pitch and the price. Or if they say, oh yeah, I think so, or if it's like unclear, you want to push more. So if they say, oh, I think it is, then you want to get them to sell themselves. So you want to ask, if they say, I think it is, you go, why do you think it is? Like what parts of it make it align for you? And then they're going to sell themselves on that as well. So if it's anything less than 100% yes, if they say, I think it's aligned, or like, I'm pretty sure it is, you're going to ask them, why do you think that? Or why do you feel that? And that's going to get them to explain to themselves why it is a good fit for them. And then when you pitch the price, one of the most important things is just your energy. You want to pitch the price and you want to shut up. So for everything we discuss, it's going to be €5,000. Silence. The first person to speak loses. I think that's an Alex Hormozy quote. And once you drop the price, the first person to speak loses the sale. So that's the hardest part. It's sitting in that silence. You wait. It might take even 60 seconds or 30 seconds sometimes, but you want to wait in that silence until they say something first. So the things that they could say, obviously number 1 is, yes, I'm in and ready to go. Perfect. Then you just want to casually go into just, okay, let's get you onboarded. Let's get our first call booked, and I'll just pop you the payment link in the chat now and you can pop that through. So you want to like bridge that casually on if they say yes, or else you might get objections, which I'll go through in a separate video. But the most important thing is the confidence and conviction that you pitch your price with. People can sense energy more than anything else in the world. If your energy is like, I don't believe in myself, you're doubting yourself, I'm not worth that, people can sense that because you're like, oh yeah, so for all of that, it's just €5,000 when you get this and this and you're over explaining yourself. That is what you want to avoid at all costs. You say your price once in one line with a neutral tonality with complete and utter conviction. And that is my 6-step process in order to close high ticket sales in just one call. Save you so much time, save you so much energy getting on calls with prospects that are not a good fit, and never get the I need to think about it again. And if you want to work with me one-on-one to build a bulletproof mindset and scale your coaching business, click the link in the description. See you next week.